Hello everyone, welcome back to good old Feldy. Farmer Yip's app for Farming Sim 11, been enjoying it quite a lot, and I'm doing a voiceover at the moment where, as you can see here in the footage, we are continuing to move silage, and there was a number of things on silage I've been looking up and studying just a little bit, and I was trying to share some of these in a previous episode. But it is so hard to read from something and farm at the same time. So I thought maybe I would just record some footage here, initially here, selling some silage off and then share some things. And it's nothing fancy. I don't know how much folks know about silage. I really didn't know that much. So that's kind of why I'm sharing a little bit here. And just from the good old internet and off of Wikipedia, don't know how authoritative of a source that it is, but it probably has the basics right. And so in a previous episode, I know I gave a little bit of history and background as to silage, when it was made, who did it first, kind of how it spread to various countries, and here in the footage we're seeing, we're using silage in a VGA, and of course this would be many, many, many years down the road. I think for a long time, the primary application, of course, was for animal feed once it was discovered. So, like I said, I talked a little about the history, talked about some of the crops that are used in it. So I'm just looking at some other things in here about production. Silage must be made from plant material when a suitable moisture content is there, about 50 to 60%, based on the means of storage, the degree of compression, and the amount of water that will be lost in storage, but not exceeding 75%. Weather during harvest need not be as fair and dry as when harvesting for drying. For corn, harvest begins when the whole plant moisture is at a suitable level, ideally a few days before it is ripe. For pasture-type crops, the grass is mown and allowed to wilt for a day or so until the moisture content drops to a suitable level. Ideally, the crop is mowed and in full flower and deposited in the silo on the day of its cutting. After harvesting, crops are shredded to pieces about 15 millimeters or half an inch long. The material is spread in uniform layers over the floor of the silo and closely packed. When the silo is filled or the stack built, a layer of straw or some other dry porous substance may be spread over the surface. In the silo, the pressure of the material, when chafed, excludes air from all but the top layer. In the case of the stack, extra pressure is applied by weights to prevent excessive heating. And I think that's kind of what we've been doing here in game, as we saw that, and as we're used to, it gets compressed, it gets blanketed, and in real life, it's interesting, it mentions extra weights. I know I've seen here locally, a lot of times they'll put tires on it. Maybe that's the extra weight, that they're referring to. Anyway, it continues here. Forage harvesters collect and chop the plant material and deposit it in trucks or wagons. These forage harvesters can be either tractor-drawn or self-propelled. Harvesters blow the chaff into the wagon through a chute at the rear or side of the machine. Chaff may also be emptied into a bagger, which puts the silage into a large plastic bag that is laid out on the ground. I think I've seen some of those, but not any here locally, or in the central part of the country. In North America, Australia, northwestern Europe, and New Zealand, it is common for silage to be placed in large heaps on the ground, rolled by tractor to push out the air, then covered with plastic sheets that are held down by used tires or tire ring walls. In New Zealand and Northern Europe, clamps made of concrete or old wooden railway ties, sleepers, and built into the side of a bank are sometimes used. You know, maybe that's how the name here in game, why it's referred to as a silage clamp. You know, you look at these bunkers and it doesn't appear anything is clamped, but that maybe explains how it got that term. The chopped grass can then be dumped in at the top to be drawn from the bottom in winter. This requires considerable effort to compress the stack in the silo to cure it properly. Again, the pit is covered with a plastic sheet and weighed down with tires. In an alternative method, the cut vegetation is formed into bales using a baler, making baleage, that's in North America, or silage bales in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. The grass or other forage is cut and partly dried until it contains 30 to 40% moisture, much drier than bulk storage, but too damp to be stored as dry hay. It is then made into large bales, which are wrapped tightly in plastic to exclude air. The plastic may wrap the whole of each cylindrical or cuboid bale or be wrapped around only the curved sides of a cylindrical bale, leaving the ends uncovered. In this case, the bales are placed tightly end to end on the ground, making a long, continuous, quote, sausage of silage, often at the side of a field. The wrapping may be performed by a bale wrapper, while the baled silage is handled using a bale handler or a front loader, either impaling the bale on a flap or by using a special drag. Interesting. And I know we've seen that in game. I don't know that we have the option to do that here in Farm Sim 11, where we can wrap bales. Although, I guess I could throw that out there. Has anyone seen a mod, Farm Sim 11 or earlier, where you could create bales of silage in the field? I know you could at Farm Sim 15, and I never played Farm Sim 13 enough to know if there was an option there. And I know I've seen these bales here locally. I know my kids growing up always called them marshmallows, you know, when they would see them in the field, gigantic marshmallows. In the UK, baled silage is most often made in round bales, about 1.2 meter by 1.2 meter, individually wrapped with 4 to 6 layers of bale wrapped plastic, and the percentage of dry matter can vary from about 20% upwards. The continuous sausage referred to previously is made with a special machine which wraps the bales as they are pushed through a rotating hoop, which applies the bale wrap to the outside of the bales. I almost think I saw a mod for that in Farm Sim 22. It kind of worked with the sausage effect, if you will. It's always interesting how when they create stuff that works in game, just like real life. There's a section in here on haylage. Haylage sometimes refers to high dry matter silage of around 40% to 60%, typically made from hay. Coarse haylage is usually 60 to 70% dry matter, made in small bales or large bales. Handling of wrapped bales is most often with some kind of gripper that squeezes the plastic-covered bale between two metal parts to avoid puncturing the plastic. Yeah, we don't observe that nicety in game. I think we just take whatever prod we can put into those bales and we run with it. Simple fixed versions are available for round bales, which are made of tube-shaped pipes or tubes spaced apart to slide under the sides of the bale, but when lifted will not let it slip through. Often used on the tractor's loader is an attachment called a bale grabber. They incorporate a tripped tipping mechanism, which can flip bales over onto the flat side or end for storage on the thickest plastic layers. And I know we've seen mods for these in Farming Sim. Actually, they're very simple mods, just a simple little fork. You can pick them up on the ground. Sometimes multiple forks you can put on the back of the tractor. It's kind of cool. Well, there's a section here on fermentation. Silage undergoes anaerobic fermentation, which starts about 48 hours after the silo is filled and converts sugars to acids. fermentation is essentially complete after about 2 weeks. Well, it sure didn't take 2 weeks in game, thank goodness. It happened rather quickly. Fortunately, everything sped up in farming sim. Before anaerobic fermentation starts, there is an aerobic phase in which the trapped oxygen is consumed. How closely the fodder is packed determines the nature of the resulting silage by regulating the chemical reactions that occur in the stack. When closely packed, the supply of oxygen is limited and the attendant acid fermentation brings about decomposition of the carbohydrates present in acetic. Oh my, there's some words here I don't know how to pronounce. Different kinds of acids. This product is named sour silage. And then apparently there's a sweet silage, with less compression. Interesting. We obviously don't have the option to do the ad in game to make the different kinds of silage, but who knows? Maybe someday someone will make a mod for those kinds of nuances. And who knew that a farmer needed to be a chemist? That to me is some of the fascinating part of this. Undoubtedly on the farm, a lot of this knowledge was handed down from dad to son or whatever, and maybe it just worked, but you wonder what their understanding of the chemistry underlying it is, or if they just say, well, this is how we've always made it, or this is how I know how to do it. Stuff. Ryegrasses have high sugars and respond to nitrogen fertilizer better than any other grass species. These two qualities have made ryegrass the most popular grass for silage making for the last 60 years. Interesting. Didn't know that. And here locally, I think I mentioned it before, the only silage stuff that I'm aware of has been corn traditionally. There's a section on pollution and waste. The fermentation process of silo or pit silage releases liquid. Silo effluent is corrosive. It can also contaminate water sources unless collected and treated. The high nutrient content can lead to, another word I can't pronounce, eutrophication or hypertrophication, the growth of bacterial or algal blooms in the gut. Plastic sheeting used for sealing pit or baled silage needs proper disposal. And some areas have recycling schemes for it. Some farms that burn silage plastics for deodorant and smoke have concern in certain communities. Yeah, I imagine they would. Well, then storing silage must be firmly packed. I guess this would be after the silage is created. So it must still be firmly packed to minimize the oxygen content lest it spoil. So it says silage goes through 4 major stages in a silo: pre-sealing, which after the first few days filling enables some respiration and some dry matter loss but stops. Then fermentation, which occurs over a few weeks. pH drops and there's more dry matter loss. Aerobic respiration stops. Then there's infiltration, which enables some oxygen infiltration, allowing for limited microbial respiration. And then empty, which exposes surface, causing additional loss. And the rate of loss increases. Yeah, it must be as soon as they pull off the blanket. As a section here on safety, silos are potentially hazardous. Deaths may occur in the process of filling and maintaining them, and several safety precautions are necessary. I look at the silos that we have. I can't imagine what some of those dangers would be beyond the chemistry, that is. Seems fairly safe, but maybe there are other... Yeah, there's a risk of injury by machinery or from falls. Well, yeah, there's always that in a farming environment. Fermentation presents respiratory hazards. So yeah, I don't know that I've ever heard of someone down there huffing silo fumes from silage, but I don't know. Maybe someone has tried to get high doing that. I don't know. Silage gas contains nitric oxide, which will react with oxygen to form nitrogen dioxide, which is toxic. Lack of oxygen inside the silo can cause asphyxiation, of course. It mentions molds. Collapsing silage from larger bunker silos has caused deaths. I suppose it could implode. It mentions some, let's see, what is this? Silage itself poses no special danger. However, the improvement in legislation to regulate the animal food industry has reduced the problems concerning food-related human diseases by improvement of the hygienic quality of silage. Milk from cows fed with silage containing clostridial spores could represent a risk in hard cheese production. Watch out if you eat cheese. Special, oh my goodness, this is full of other words that I don't know how to pronounce. And E. coli bacteria, I've heard of that one, as a result of deficient hygiene in silage production that could end in dairy products. Yeah, it's an interesting article here. I mean, I guess it's got a few more tidbits in here on nutrition. Ensilage can be substituted for root crops. Bulk silage commonly fed dairy cattle. Baled silage tends to be used for beef cattle. Dairy versus beef. Beef cattle, sheep, and horses. The advantages of silage as animal feed are several. So it goes on to list a number of those, and I don't think I've printed anything beyond this, so there's some information cut off on the page. I guess it produces, let me see here. Oh, all these words, yeah, that mean something to people in healthcare, probably. Cellulose, carbohydrates, volatile fatty acids. This doesn't, as a layperson, it's hard for me to understand. But apparently it's something positive, whatever it's saying here. Whatever it is, it's good. Yeah, go find it, read it yourself. That's basically what I'm saying, I guess. Because I don't know what it means. When silage is prepared under optimal conditions, the modest acidity also has the effect of improving palatability and provides a dietary contrast for the animal. I think that's saying it gives the cows variety in their food. I don't know why they don't just say it that way. It'd be like any of us, forced to eat oatmeal all the time. We'd be extremely happy when all of a sudden a beef steak or something happened by, just for variety. Apparently, the silage process produces vitamins, and it gives a couple of them named here. Lactobacillus species produce folic acid and vitamin B12. I guess that's a good thing. Okay, some of the energy is released as heat, so it's modestly lower in caloric content than the original plant. I think that's what it's going to say, but the article kind of cuts off there. So, I don't know how much more there really is to say on this. Like I say, there was just kind of an area here to share some of those basic tidbits about silage. I don't know, I just found it kind of interesting reading about it. And really, this kind of points to one of the neat things, at least for me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, when it comes to farming simulator. I didn't grow up on a farm, but I worked on a farm. It was Lone Oak Farms, grass seed farm in the Silverton Hills here in the Willamette Valley. And so there are some things that I understand from having worked on a farm, but it's very limited in scope. I've never worked with corn and or other types of agricultural commodities. And the neat thing that Farming Simulator has helped with, and I know I'm not the only one, is just opening of eyes as to what else is out there and giving some kind of an education as to what these other farmers do to produce a crop. I've never grown potatoes in a field. We did some in the garden maybe, but it's just interesting, and it in many ways is a type of public service the Giants have provided by creating this game. And of course, there's no public service about it. They did it to make money, of course. but it's just kind of neat that it has that effect where you can learn how these other commodities are raised and gain appreciation of them, as well as, with all the mods and everything, seeing how things are done in other countries. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to talk to farmers that actually play the game, real life farmers, to see what perspectives they've gained from other, if it's possible, perspectives gained from seeing their counterparts in other countries, how they do things, or the type of machinery and equipment that they have. And maybe it makes a difference, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. Just a fascinating game nonetheless. And for good old Feldy here, I think I was doing a little bit here. I can't remember. I don't think I finished emptying this bunker. I mainly just recorded some stuff. I knew I wanted a voiceover, and then I was going to head out to the field, which we'll do as soon as we finish messing with this recalcitrant conveyor belt. Well, hello everybody. It appears this contraption enjoys flying. I think I will stop my loading of silage there, but I do want to get this hooked back into where it should be. I don't quite understand this. I mean, the physics of this game are just wonky to begin with, but I would have thought, that the time when it would be the most vulnerable to, flipping out would be like right now, when I back this thing up onto the pile. Yeah, that's probably too, well, let me see here. I've done it before. Can I do it again? Yeah, I can get away with that. Alright, I'm going to leave this trailer over here. I'll get it filling. And then we're going to go look for something else to do on the farm. I've been doing some work off cam to harvest some root crop, and I've made some significant headway, I think. Alright, let's head on out to the field if we can get there. Here we go. Actually have just a little bit left, and if I look on here, yeah, I'm in this field. This field here is a root crop. This is the one I started last time, so I finished this, and now I'm almost done. We made half of this be sugar beet here. I don't know that I have much else. I can't recall if I have any down around the bend. Just don't know. And really, the only purpose. I thought I had said I wasn't going to do any more major animal work, and I still may not, depending on how long I keep this series going. But really, we're not able to sell sugar beets, so we can only turn it into animal feed. For the moment, let me get this bad boy going, and we'll get harvesting. Try to keep, oh shoot, forgot to lower it. Yes, gotta lower it. Here we go. I've been harvesting mainly in code 1. I think it'll let me go up to code 2, which was pretty quick. But even the speed I'm doing it now, frankly, is probably too fast. So just got a couple strips left here, and we'll get this done. Oh, and even, I don't know how you all do with root crop, but it seems like you gotta have a lot of patience because the equipment is just really, really narrow. And narrow equipment means you're going to be spending a lot of time in the field. I tried to set this up, and I don't know, I don't think I'm going to tinker with it any further. It will hire the work done. I was able to get it to do that. But the turnaround is just atrocious, and I think given enough time, probably could figure it out.
but it's one of those things. I just don't want to. So sometimes there are problems not worth fixing. And this is probably one of them. You know, I'll use this equipment this particular season, but I have some different equipment that I want to try if I ever do this again. And frankly, I would have plenty of money to get some. So we'll see if I do another season on here on this map. But as it is, I don't even know that I'm halfway done with the current harvest, so we got quite a ways to go before I make that decision. So, for the moment, we'll just use this little thing and dig it up. And interestingly enough, you know, the way it puts it on the surface of the map is all the nice, neat, tidy little rows, all equidistant from one another. And that isn't exactly realistic. But you know, oop, I left some kind of along the edge. Let me get it. Every bit of crop is important, huh? Let me give this a try. Oh, I missed a spot. There we go. I think I got him back go around. One more bit. Yeah, I've noticed sometimes if you harvest in two, it sometimes will skip. Did I get it? I think I did. It's plenty noisy. Alright. I think I have her finished. So I'm going to just drop this off over here. And get to picking this up. But you know, I have something else, and I should have figured this out prior to starting this episode, and I didn't. So I may need to step out of game to figure it out and maybe come back in. But I don't know if I have the ability to dump out of this trailer. Hopefully I do. Yeah, surely I have the ability to dump out of the trailer. Not sure how it will dump, but what I want to do is this is kind of an old beat up trailer. I don't remember how much it even holds. Hopefully the quantity's realistic. You know, right by the tractor over there, the one it's pulling, I think it's 21,000 some liters, so hopefully this is much less. But this is what we use to pick up the beets, which are all now laying out on the ground. Some of them flipped out of the field, and there they sit. Some of those were thrown hard through the hedge, apparently. So, we're gonna see. Now, I know it let us dig. Let's see if it lets us pick these up and see what kind of a crop we can get out of here. But as soon as my trailer is full, I need to figure something out. First, let me see the help menu and see what we got. Show. Okay. Alright. Here we have Larry, Moe, and Curly that came out to the field. They're not animated, but I gotta say this is kind of a cool effect. They all have buckets, and they're ready to pick up either spuds or, in this case here, the sugar beets. So, collect fruits off on... Okay. Well, let me tentatively set foot into... I have no idea how wide this is going to go. Oh. These guys are so good. They are able to pick them up way far in advance. They're standing there, but they're... How fast can I go? Yeah, probably at some point it'll skip. You know, you would never do this in real life. Where you pick up this quickly. 17 miles an hour. My goodness. Okay, so it looks like we're going to hold about 5,000 liters. Okay. let's, we'll make our workers go away. You can hide them. Now, here's the thing. I need to figure out how to put these puppies on a pile. And at the moment, I don't know exactly how to do that. I don't see anything in the help menu here. Where to put them? You know, a lot of times, well, I'm speaking as if I know, but I'm pretty sure in the Midwest, when they harvest these things, they pile them up in the field. So, let me step out. Is there something I need to do? Okay, I'm going to step out of the game for just a moment, and I'll be right back when I figure out how to make it. Okay, I think I know how it's supposed to go. And you know it doesn't show it in here, but as I understand it, according to Yip's instructions, Control Alt R. Okay, well that didn't work. Maybe it's right, Control Alt R. No, that isn't either. Let me consult his instructions once more. He said, I think it's a regular mod. Control Alt R. Did I get the right keys? Control Alt R. Oh, there's stuff appearing in the screen. Keep storage key R. Show workers collect fruits. Storage STRG key plus R. Well, what key is that? Alt R? Beep tip trigger STRG key plus R. Oh, well, that must have put it there, so it's Control R. Well, that's kind of a funny way to show it. Okay, well, it's going to let me unload. Very interesting. Okay, well, now that we have it there, it'd be nice if it told us how much was there. It's kind of almost like a belly dumper. Let me go get one more load. Let's see if we can get this to work. I'll just kind of come down here, pick one more up. Get my peeps out. Oh yeah, they're rushing along. Turn on the harvesting. And it lets us harvest at a decent speed. The thing I don't know is, am I getting more of a yield or less of a yield by doing it this way versus using that other machine? And the other one was kind of a single operation. This here has, you gotta do it twice basically, but at least this particular operation is much quicker because our guys, they are motivated. Alright. They also don't like writing. They disappear when their work is done. Let me take this over here. I'm gonna see now that, okay, so it's Control R. I'm gonna have to write that down because it appears instructions in Yip's thing are incorrect. Alright, unload. Well, so basically I guess that means we have a pile of 10,000 liters. Alright. Well, I'm gonna need to do a bunch of work off cam. I won't make you suffer through all of that. But we are harvesting using our dudes here to pick the sugar beets off the ground. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along to see Feldy once more. Y'all have a wonderful day. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.